Hi, I'm Katie Holmes, CEO of the British Chamber of Commerce Dubai, and this is our Don't Do That, Do This podcast. Today I am flying solo. I don't have Neil, my co-host, with me. It was to fit into the schedule of our guest, Pete Henderson. So Pete is the founder and CEO of E2G Food. And on this podcast, you're going to hear the most amazing impact that he's having on world hunger. So 850 million people go to bed hungry. And with these protein bars that you'll hear all about, Pete is on a mission to help us help all these people that need our help. So listen in. It's an amazing episode. And please follow us to listen to all of our episodes and future episodes. It really helps us. Thank you.
This podcast wouldn't have been possible without the following teams. Rightfully for storytelling and thought leadership, Studio Red for the quality podcast studio and video production, and Sherbet Lemon for branding, social media design and editing.
Pete, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Really, really thrilled to have you here.
Thank you, Katie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. When we first met, it was in Ras Al Khaimah. It was part of our event series with Raquez, and you just set up your business. Before we go into details about your background, tell us why Raquez.
Well, I think I should start by saying why UAE first.
Yeah.
And I've traveled the world. I mean, I was in Texas last week, London yesterday, Dubai today, and I'm in Asia often. But the one thing that always strikes me when I come to Dubai is how they are such a hands-on kind of let's go and do it kind of place. So I thought if we wanted to tackle world hunger, we needed to be in Dubai. And when I looked a bit more closely, I thought, well, actually, it doesn't have to be in Dubai. It has to be in the UAE. And when I looked at all the different Emirates, I found the Ras Al Khaimah was the one that suited us best. So we set up an FZ LLC in Ras Al Khaimah, and we're delighted.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to have you in the UAE. So tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to now E2G.
So I like to describe myself as an out-of-focus cameraman because I used to work for the BBC. And I traveled the world really as a news journalist to many, many different countries over a number of years. And the one thing that I noticed often on my assignments was people who were displaced, whether it was a war or a famine or an earthquake or some disaster, regularly you saw very, very hungry people. And it was awful. You couldn't actually do anything. I don't know if you've ever seen a mum with two crying kids who haven't eaten anything for a week. And it's desperate, and all they need is something to eat, and their life will be 100% or 50% better. So when I stopped being a cameraman and started looking at my next adventure, I thought really I should look at the food industry, food security, and see if I could come up with a solution. And that's basically how I got into inventing our amazing humanitarian food bar that we've created.
And for the benefit of those listening rather than watching, we're looking at you describe it. You describe the two bars, the two designs you have there.
So we have a food bar that's made from plant-based protein. So it's got dates, it's got nuts, it's got spirulina, which is a superfood, and it's got 30 grams of protein and 500 calories. So enough to sustain a person for a meal. And it's really healthy. You don't need to cook it. You don't need to have water. You don't need to do anything about from eat it. And it's incredibly healthy. In fact, it's probably one of the healthiest things you can eat because we add micronutrients and minerals to the bar as well, which comes from the World Food Programme in Switzerland.
Okay. And then the rustling was biodegradable wrapping paper. Yes, no, it's good. We need to, because I suppose if I know a lot about this, so I'm going to ask really basic questions so that everybody listening can understand the amazing work that you're doing. So talk us through.
So when I explained to my wife that we were going to drop 10,000 of these on a pallet out of a Hercules into South Sudan, her eyes looked at me and said, "P, so you're going to put all that plastic into the environment?"
Yeah.
And we came up with a plan to find a biodegradable coating that was perfect, just disintegrates into dust, with absolute zero microplastics left behind. And what was really disappointing was when we went to the UN and said, "Hey guys, look at this incredible product. You don't have to cut down a tree, you don't need to add water. you stop throwing 25-kilogram bags of maize out of the back of a Hercules, which just gives everybody a carbohydrate spike, and they go to bed full and wake up hungry. Here's a nutritious bar, amazing, with biodegradable packaging. They sort of looked at me and said, we don't do biodegradable packaging. Oh, what? This is nuts. So the reality is we want to be kind to the environment, we want to be kind to people, we want to make an impact, but we want to do it in a way that actually makes people eat better, feel better, and really, if you're not hungry, then you can start surviving in the rest of your life.
Okay, thank you. And where are the bars going to at the moment?
So we've sent them to about 20 countries. A lot of those first countries were just to do tests to see if people liked it, because finding ingredients that everybody likes is pretty tough. We've had 11 different recipes. And we now got the one that we really like. But we've sent them from South Africa to Somalia, to Sudan, to Asia, to Afghanistan, to Gaza, to Nigeria, even to the United States. So we've done about 20 different countries where we've tried and tested them. But we're now at the point in the business now where we're actually sending pallets, which means like 10,000 bars at a time, so we can make an impact.
Okay, and what's the financial model behind you being able to get the bars from where they're produced to people that need them most?
So we chose Dubai as our place to make our food bars because of the logistics. We can make 300,000 food bars a day.
Wow.
So quite a significant amount. And we've got great airlines and ports and distribution networks from here. And we are a social enterprise company on purpose because we want to be in business for a while so we can make an impact for a really long time. So the business model allows us to receive donations or have companies support us and get involved. And then that money that they spend on us is enough to basically produce the bar and deliver it to the point of impact. But most importantly, we allow the companies who support us to basically track their impact. So when you engage with us, we can make you feel good, look good, make an impact, but we can actually record it and we can actually verify it and give you the confidence that what you're investing in is getting to where it's meant to be and you're actually making the impact that you're proud about.
That sounds quite unique in the humanitarian space, in that obviously you have people that are donating, but there's a lot of trust in the process that what they're donating, whether it's clothes or money, is actually getting to the point of need. So is there anything that you're doing to create some transparency in the market for that?
So I think it's very important when considering making a donation, you've got a few things to think about. One is a big brand name that you trust.
Yeah.
That's a great donation. The second one is to really look at where the donation's ending up and how much of that donation is going to effectively be on the ground and impactful in the way that you'd like it to be. So I think look very carefully at the organizations who you're working with and see if there's a way to find out exactly what happens to it. And it was only a few months ago, my wife, who donates blood in the UK, got a text message. And she said, oh, my blood's just been used in Southampton. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I've just got a message saying my blood's been used. And I said, how do you feel? She said, great. It was like so positive. I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if people could see when a food bar was eaten somewhere? So we did a lot of research and found an amazing company that could give us the technology to allow us to scan the food bars as they go out of the factory, scan them on delivery, scan them on arrival, take some photographs of when they've arrived and show the people benefiting from the food that's been delivered. So a few weeks ago, we sent some food bars to Afghanistan, and I can go on my phone now, I can see that the money was received, what day the bars were delivered, and I've even got pictures of the community eating the food bars. So it's taken the mystery out of humanitarian aid and whether you're actually delivering on your promise. And I think that's where we'll be unique. And for companies and organizations who want to get involved with us, it's great to have that transparency. You can download a PDF file at the end of the year, attach it to your sustainability report and say, this is the impact that we've made. Or you might be a student who wants to go to university in America and you need something to attach to your UCAS application form. You can say, this is me, this is how many food bars I've donated to these different locations, and here's the impact that I've created and what I've done.
And does it have a name?
It's called Track Your Impact.
Brilliant.
And it's on purpose, it's called Track Your Impact, because it's not track your food bar, it's track your impact. So whatever you do, whether it's mosquito nets or clothes or any kind of thing that you want to track your impact, our platform's powerful enough to be able to help you do that.
And surely as well, that whole kind of end-to-end experience then encourages more donations. So you become, is there a way of having a profile that you can see everything that you're saying you can have for UCAS reports and things like that, but just from one individual's perspective, not just companies, but can they go into the app and see everything they've ever done?
So every person, when they download the app, they register, they can see the campaigns that we're supporting, they can make a donation. Directly underneath the campaign comes up their own personal page with their photograph and their name, and it's called My Donation, and you can see multiple donations that you've made, and you can see the status. It'll be active or delivered or in the process. And then you have at the bottom of that, you can either be a silver, gold, or bronze person, depending on how many bars you've donated.
Yeah.
And we see over time that you'll become part of a community where Taylor Swift's got her Swifties, we've got our foodies.
Brilliant.
So we want our foodies to engage and interact with one another and collectively tackle world hunger, which is ultimately what you're trying to do.
Great. And we talked before just in terms of the cost of doing good. So 7 dirhams for a bar.
Yep.
And that bar will feed...
So if we look at a box of bars, which is 36 bars, that's enough for 4 people, a family of 4 for a week, more or less. It's not going to be the only food they have, but it's definitely going to make a big impact on their week if they have the protein. You know, really what people need is they need water, oxygen, and protein. And this has got such high protein, and it's halal, and it's really good for you, and it gives you energy. It's great for breastfeeding mums. It's great for kids. Spirulina is a superfood. So when you eat it, you're having minerals, vitamins, protein, healthy nuts, dates. It's really good for you. And, you know, it allows you to carry on with your life.
So 36 bars in a box would feed a family for 4. And that's equivalent to 250 dirhams for somebody to donate.
Yeah.
That cost.
So if you want to make an impact, donate a box. If you want to make a bigger impact, grab all your friends and create a pallet. A pallet is 10,000 bars, and that's 70,000 dirhams, and that's perfect for a company or an organization who would like to get together for, you know, a holiday or some special event.
Yeah.
You can collectively get together. What we found is some companies will match their staff's contribution.
Okay.
And what's really good is we can brand it if you want from your company's point of view. We can say where it's come from, and plus we'll give you a very visual tracking of your impact, where it is at any particular point and what's happened to it.
And the shelf life, I remember, is quite extensive.
When we looked at designing it, we basically went with the World Food Programme guidelines, where it had to be a minimum of 18 months.
Okay.
And so we have at this stage 18 months, but we have sent food bars off to a laboratory to do an extended shelf life test because we think it might last longer. But definitely 18 months is good enough, because we expect it's going to be eaten within days of arrival. It's not really designed to sit in stores forever.
No, but I'm sure some families might need to stretch it to make it last more than a week. For example, so it's good that the shelf life is...
I mean, this food, because it doesn't have much moisture and there's less chance of it going bad in any way, and it's not affected by heat or coldness. It's a perfect food bar for a wide range of communities on a global basis.
Yeah, and I've tried it, and it is really delicious. And one of my questions was to you was, can I buy it? You know, you've got 2 versions of bars there. So there's the one that's being dropped for people in need, but you've got a more kind of commercial bar, have you, as well?
Our business model is to E2G, capital E, number 2, capital G, food, is there for a reason. Food, because we just said it's food. It's no rubbish. It's just food. We're delivering food to hungry people. But the E2G stands for Eat to Give. And our business model going forward is that we'll sell small commercial bars, which will be 60 grams, that are exactly the same food that's in the one that everybody else is eating. But for every one that we sell for, say, 12 dirhams, we'll then donate 1 humanitarian food bar to somebody who can't afford it elsewhere in the world. So you can eat it, get healthy, feel good, and be good and give good at the same time.
So in terms of your partners, your enablers, who's most useful for you? And are there any gaps that maybe someone listening on the podcast could help fill with a contact or themselves?
I think the gaps really is to take a great idea and not basically expand it on a global basis and take advantage of what we've created and deliver on it. So the gaps are to find organizations, companies, individuals to get behind us, sponsor us, and get involved. And it can be an individual in a company or it be a corporation. For example, the Track Your Impact app would be ideal for a corporate sponsor who wants to get behind it for 12 months or whatever they prefer, where they could be the powering partner behind the tracking the impact. And that's something we'll be looking for in the near future.
And I mean, 70,000 dirhams for a pallet for individuals, so it sounds a lot, but so do you have almost like fractional donations? Did you wait until you've paid for the pallet before it goes, or what's the operating model behind that?
You can buy one bar, if you like, on the app. And we've got a really cool sliding scale where you can see a box of food bars filling up by sliding your finger
Very
along.
clever.
So 36 bars, and then you see 227 boxes on a pallet.
Yeah.
And then you see 20 pallets in a container. So we'll take as low as 7-8 dirhams as a donation, but we'll normally only deliver when we get to an amount that makes sense for us to go and deliver it, because there's a cost of delivery.
Of course, I can
So
imagine.
at the moment, it's a pallet. And for example, next week, we're hoping to send a pallet to Gaza, which is very exciting.
Well, good luck with that. I really hope that, well, by the time this goes out, I'm sure you'd have delivered lots more, but good luck for that. What have been your obstacles?
I think the biggest obstacle when you set out on trying to solve world hunger is you don't realize how huge it is. I mean, the numbers are just extraordinary. If you look at 850 million people, that's the whole of Europe. That's a massive amount of people are going to bed hungry every night. And apart from being hungry, that you can't get the food to them, because the reason they're hungry is because they're often displaced or they're in different parts of the world, and the logistics of getting food to people is just pretty expensive and pretty difficult. So initially I thought the answer would be to go to the UN and say, here's all the food, go and deliver it, because you've got your delivery network in place. My biggest obstacle was their lack of ability to look at future food as a solution. They were too stuck in their old ways of doing things. They wouldn't take biodegradable packaging. They needed committees to only meet twice a year to consider it. And I was very frustrated, and I thought, you know what, bugger it, I'm just going to deliver the food. We're going to be a no-nonsense food company where we've got a great product, there's a great need. We're going to find a business model that allows us to support what we do. And having been a cameraman for years, we've often been in a situation where something's happened and CNN have picked up the phone and said, Mogadishu, get there. And then you just have to use your initiative, grab a plane, fly in, and when everybody's still thinking about it, you're doing it. And so we decided as a company, we're going to be future food, solving a problem that the world needs solved, and we're going to do it in the best way we can with nutritious food in an effective way.
Gosh, who wouldn't want to be behind that? And we talk about food, but you've also got a sachet in front of you there. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So when you think of somebody who's desperate, they need a few things basically to survive. They need food, but they also need water, and they obviously need oxygen and sleep. That's about the basic things that you need as a human being to stay alive. So when we looked at the food alone, one of the problems was people get sick from water. And, they might find water, but it's contaminated. So we teamed up with a company called Hydrochem, who are a UK-based company, and they provide water purification tablets. And a strip of tablets, which has got 20 tablets on, each tablet can basically make 20 liters of water safe to drink. So in our food box, we put in some water tablets, water purification tablets, so that a family receiving the food, they also get clean water as well. And, in places like Gaza, that's one of the biggest problems is water. So solving food and water is like solving half the problem.
And your membership experience so far with the British Chambers of Commerce, I know you've been connecting at pace with a lot of people within the membership. Is there anybody that you would like to reach out to, or them to reach out to you from this podcast?
I think if this resonates with you and you feel that your organization could benefit from a sustainability program that is very trackable and able to demonstrate your company's impact that you're having around the world, we'd be delighted to work with you. We'd love to find out what campaigns you're interested in, work out how your members or your staff would like to get involved, and we'll work with you on a program to make your impact seen, felt, and recorded.
Brilliant. That'd be great. I do have a question as well. So another question, but where on your app, and you can see also on the website, sorry, with the tracking of the campaigns, certain campaigns have a lot more attention because probably of your background, journalism. What do you think the magic ingredient is to help drive these campaigns so that they're front of mind for everybody in their day-to-day lives?
I think campaigns are very personal to everybody who looks at them. It's interesting. Some people really don't want to send food to Gaza because they think that we're feeding Hamas, and that's just like too political. So it's never going to mean anything to them. Other people are from Africa, others are from Europe, and a lot of people say, well, what about in our own backyard? We've got people in this country who need help. So I think that by having enough campaigns, and we'll most probably have 5 or 6 at a time, will allow us to demonstrate a campaign that's attractive to a person. But then if an organization comes to us and says, look, we're really, really keen on solving breast cancer, for example, and we want to build a campaign all around that, and it's for the Philippines, then we could say, well, let's build a campaign together, and we have the ability to make it either public or private. We can put it onto your website, and you can distribute it and use our platform behind your campaign, and we'll support you and promote you and help you do your own campaign into your own environment that's good for you.
And I think that's amazing. I mean, it's still kind of almost like white labeling that transparency effort. I mean, when you touched at the beginning of the podcast to say how helpful everybody is in the UAE, it's certainly my experience as well that when there is a cause, there's a lot of people that want to get behind the cause, whether it's local or international. And that's often the obstacle in the way is, how do I get involved? What's the best thing to do? Is it trackable? This seems like an amazing solution for that. And Facebook pages like British Mums Dubai, there's quite often somebody will post with their campaign or with an idea. So I'd love to introduce you to British Mums Dubai and other communities like that, so that it helps them help other people, help more people.
So I think one of the important things is being able to share your impact, because anybody can sit in the middle of the night on Facebook or anywhere and think, I'm going to make a difference. But actually, when you get that message like my wife got from her blood being used, where you get a message saying, my food's been delivered, you want to shout about it. So on our app, we've got a button which says share your impact.
Okay.
And as soon as you push that button, you can select who you want to share it with, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media you have, or just a direct message to a friend. That message gets sent to somebody, and what you receive there is a link that shows your impact that you've personally made, which will include pictures of where the food bar has been delivered to, etc. So it means that if you're in a community of friends or mums of Dubai, and there's a cause that a lot of you are connected to, you can share it amongst each other and generate more awareness. And ultimately, our goal is, it's not about having loads and loads of people, it's about making loads and loads of impact. It's about being able to say that you personally have made a difference.
Is there anything in particular that you're very proud of in terms of the projects that you've worked on?
I think this is probably the most exciting project I've ever done in my life. And the reason I like it, it's because it's taken the mystery out of humanitarian aid, delivery and accountability. For years, I've always worried that my $100 that I've sent to the UN has gone into a big white Range Rover somewhere. This now allows me to really feel that I can see what's happened to it and where it is and the impact. So I'm proud that we've been able to use technology and in fact even blockchain, because we're using a lot of blockchain to record and create, and I'm using a lot of artificial intelligence as well to identify which campaigns are the right ones and how to gauge people's interests and try and focus on where we can make an impact effectively. So I think the ability of using modern technology, new platforms and innovative ways of doing it, trying to solve an old problem is for the first time, you can do it. And I'm sure many others are going to follow us and do the same. But at least if we can pioneer a new way of doing things, accountability and transparency and impact, then the whole idea of I'm sustainable could actually be verified. It's a bit like in Missouri where they say, don't tell me, show me. This is the first time I think that people can actually see the impact they're making.
Great. And it is called Track Impact.
Track your impact.
Track your impact.
Your own personal impact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing being able to track an Amazon or a FedEx parcel going somewhere, but if it's actually your personal money that you've taken out your pocket and sent somewhere, you want to know that that's got to where it's meant to be and it's arrived on what date and what it's been used for.
Yeah.
So I think the ability to track your impact does a few things. One, it's the feel-good factor. It's also the confidence that it's doing what it's said you were going to do with it. But more importantly, I think that you should be proud. You know,
Yeah.
people in the world can't just sit there and take. We need to give back. We need to share our responsibility to help others and help the planet. So we need to improve on climate change. We need to improve on food security. We have to improve on carbon reduction. Our kids are going to have a horrible life if we mess it up any further than we've messed it up already. So this is an opportunity to actually use technology and a platform to make an impact and shout about it.
Yeah, and you touched on it already around children having access to the platform through donations. And for any parents listening, I think that's an amazing idea of kind of encouraging altruism through children, whether it's 7 dirhams of their pocket money or at Christmas or something, but for them to actually think beyond their comfortable lifestyle. So again, there's so many opportunities. Schools would be interested.
An opportunity for children to donate 5 dirhams a month, for example.
Okay.
Or 10 or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's a monthly donation, but it also allows them at the end of the year to reflect back on what they've done that year and who they've helped and where it's gone, and think a little bit about others rather than just themselves.
Absolutely.
So we've done quite a lot of research. We recognize that there are 3 different age groups of people who normally would donate. And there's the 17, 18, 19-year-olds, slightly older than the young kids, who have their own money, who will donate anything, and I'm going to do it in dollars because I understand it better. They donate anything from $15 to $25 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the 30-year-olds who've got babies and kids and lots of expenses, and they don't really have much disposable income, but at least once or twice a year they see a campaign that really attracts their attention. And they'll donate anything from $80 to $120 each time they send something to a campaign. And then you've got the baby boomers who, like, the kids have grown up and they're sitting there and they're in their 50s, 60s, and they think a little bit more about the planet and the world, and they'll donate anything from $800 to $1,200 a year. So we, as a business, we expect to have 2 million users on our app.
Okay.
And when we get 2 million users, we've done the economics, so that will give us a daily ability to send a pallet somewhere every day, somewhere in the world, from the donations that we receive. So that's when the machine works. That's when we're actually making a real impact, helping a lot of people, and it's no longer just a good idea. It's actually, it's a tool to really tackle global hunger.
Yeah.
And if we do this properly, then we can, put the other agencies who do it badly out of business one day.
That sounds fantastic. So schools should get in contact, HR departments, individuals themselves, and any, as you say, companies that are looking at their ESG strategy and thinking, what can we do? This is a perfect solution for that.
Also communities, expat communities or diaspora, if you would like to recruit in northern Nigeria, which is really difficult to do. But if you're lucky enough to be employed in the UAE and you're from that part of the world, this is a great way to get you and all your friends together and say, why don't we send a pallet a month back to Nigeria to help people? So we can collect and create that campaign with you and deliver it. And in fact, some of you might even want to go with it and go and actually hand it out and be part of it. So we want people to step forward, get involved, and make an impact with us.
Fantastic. Well, urging everybody that's listening to think about how you can get involved. I think there's lots of opportunities to do so. Pete, I'm so pleased that you're here in the UAE and everywhere, but base yourself here between here and in the UK and basically everywhere in the world. I think you come back from Texas as well. Is that right? But really delighted, happy to support you as much as we can. And thank you so much for your time. And we'll get these bars out to as many people as we can through our channels.
Thank you very much to the BCCD for the amazing support. It's been a great, enjoyable journey so far with you, and I look forward to spending a lot more time with all the other members and working with you, Katie, in particular. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.